Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, and thank you for tuning back into St. Andrew TV, a cure for your Monday blues. I'm your host, Andrew, and as you can see, I have a mystery meat right in front of me. That's because we're doing another Saints Chuckwagon episode, and this one is a little hot and cold for me. Today, we are making Rocky Mountain Oysters, Montana tenderloins, or calf fries. Whatever name that you would like to go with, all of them are of the same ingredient. That ingredient being testicles. I know what everybody's thinking, and I have pondered the questions before. However, if our Old West brethren had no problem doing it on long cattle drives, then I have no problem doing it here today. I am going to show you two different ways to do it. One is far more simple than the other, but if you follow me along, I'll give you a little history, and we will make Rocky Mountain Oysters. As we get started, and as I said at the beginning of the video, there are two different ways that we can prepare these. We can do it the old Cowboy method, or the method that was taken up by saloons of the time that people would order. So we have a rugged and we have a refined recipe today. As I cut into these puppies, and everybody with testicles clinches for a little bit because it's not a great sight to see, I will mention that the rugged recipe is going to be a lot more simple. The first step remains the same, as we have to cut off this membrane. You're going to want the meat on the inside of the membrane, not the membrane itself. So you're going to make an incision, and this is going to be tough because my knife is rather dull. As I tried to cut into the membrane with the dullest knife in recorded human history, I'm going to give you my thoughts about Rocky Mountain Oysters, because the thought of it doesn't sound too appealing, but here's how I'm going to get past it. The testicles on any animal are a very, very tender part of the body, and they're delicate, which means the meat that is in them is probably going to be very tender. Now, usually you do this with calves that aren't going to mate as they grow older. With that being said, that's when you're probably going to get the best final results. This is a fully grown adult. This is a bull. So I'm assuming, since the testosterone pumped through this animal, we're going to have a little bit of a earthier flavor because he reached adulthood. And you could tell by the sheer size of this thing that it was an adult when this thing got, snipped. With that being said, the one way we're going to do it is we are going to bread it and deep fry it, which I can't remember the last time I had a deep fried anything and thought, wow, that's not very good. But imagine that, the mix the breading that we're going to put on it, the little mix that I have over there, I'm going to imagine that that's going to get rid of any of the, foul taste that we don't want. There we go. That's what you're looking for right there. This is the color of the testicle without the membrane. It's like a greenish, almost like a mustard color. Other way we're going to do it is we are going to do it the cattle drive way, the authentic way. And that is when you get the membrane off of it, like I am right now, You put it over a skewer and put it over a campfire until it bursts. Add a little bit of salt and you are good. That is Cowboy caviar if I've ever seen it. It would probably be far easier to do this with a sharp knife. So I'm going to cut a lot of this out until I get that membrane off. So we're going to put this one, because it got to room temperature, in a bag, and we're going to put it in the freezer because it will be easier to cut. This is going to be the refined one, where we're actually going to bread it and fry it in some animal fat. The other one, on the other hand, I will show you how to just do it the old cowboy way of just putting it over a campfire. All right, now that that one's in the freezer to harden up so it's easier to cut, then we'll do the egg wash, the breading, and then we'll fry it in some animal fat. And I have a feeling that one's going to taste a little better. This is going to be the rugged cattle drive one. We're going to take the membrane off, we're going to put it on a skewer, and I'm going to place it in the oven. I put it at 400 degrees and I'm hanging it over like a cast iron. I'm going to set the stick like over the cast iron to make it like resemble a campfire, so to speak. You can do whatever you feel that you need to do you can do it over a campfire. But if you're like me, can't really start a fire in the hottest state in the country without, rain. So not only am I going to start fire for a bull testicle, I'm also going to start a forest fire, which would not be good. So this one should be a little bit more easy because once it's off, we're just going to shove a skewer through it and put it in the oven. Before I get way too far into this, make sure you get a knife that's sharp because it has been miserable trying to get this membrane off of the testicle with a dull ass knife. That's a little better. It kind of went through a little easier, but you want to just be able to cut it like butter. And I'm going to level with you, I'm not having too much success. This one looks prettier though. I would strongly advise maybe putting these in the freezer before you work on them because they got to room temperature as I was setting up and they're really difficult to work with then. But as I said, I'm going to throw a skewer through the middle of it and I'm going to put them in the oven. Mine's at 400 degrees, by the way. And I'm just going to let it cook. As we do that, we're going to cut into the other one that we have in the freezer and we are going to make the more refined version as this one is cooking. Here's our one from the freezer. I think I mangled it a little bit because, let's be honest, my knife is not sharp enough. It's just not. However, this is where things get a little bit more simple. We're just cutting this into very small sections. We're going to bread them and then fry them in some animal fat. This part is par for the course. Just get yourself a little section, cut it, well, more than that. That'll do you right there. This is about the piece that you're gonna want. You're gonna bread it. Probably do a little bigger than that. We'll go for a little bit more on this one. Now there is a recipe out there where you boil this to make it easier to cut first, but I'm imagining if they're selling this in saloons to lonesome travelers, I'm going to go ahead and say that they weren't boiling anything. Hell, I would imagine that these would hardly be cooked, let alone, all the manicuring of the meat. And I will say again, life would have been exceedingly easier with a sharp knife. There you have it. Those might be a little big, but they will still fry. Now, after I clean all this up, I'm going to make our little mixture of breading here. When they're in this current state, I usually salt them a little bit. Like I've done this before. I would salt them a little bit because it'll soak it up. That's a little coarse for that, but that's all I have at the moment. Next is the egg wash that we will need to make to give these pups a little bath. You could do milk as well, I've seen, but I doubt we're having that much milk on the Frontier. Little egg wash, mix these bad boys up. Nothing too crazy about that. All right, the mix that I'm going with is a cup of all-purpose flour, which it doesn't have to be perfect because you're only coating these things. There's another half, I guess. And we're gonna do probably a little bit more than a quarter cup of cornmeal because I splashed the flour pretty bad. So we're at a full cup of flour and a quarter cup of cornmeal, and then you can add salt and pepper accordingly. Now I have lemon pepper. I do like lemon pepper, and means I don't have a bunch of pepper on hand. I figured this would probably take out that earthy taste of the adult bull testicle. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there and add a little bit more salt. And that's going to be our concoction here of how we're going to fry these up. Give it a little wash in the egg bath. Don't be scared to really coat these things. Look like that. And rinse, repeat. Simple as that. Guess is these are going to taste better than the one that's currently in the oven. I don't know if I'm perfectly replicating a campfire, but it's the best of what I have at my disposal right now. It is what it is at the end of the day. We're eating bull testicles, so let's really think about that for a second. Is there a good way to eat bull testicles? We will find out at the end of the video. I'll certainly tell you that. This is a good time to mention that your cast iron should have animal fat in it. And it should be scalding hot because these pieces are not very thick. So the idea is that you're almost gonna flash them. Throw them in there, and once you see the edges start to turn golden brown, turn them over. It should not take longer than 3 total minutes. If it does, you're probably gonna have some burnt meat, or if you have a meat thermometer, you want these at 165 degrees internal temp. That's the idea at least. And then put them on a little rack to cool and get all that extra fat off there. And you are good to go. Like I said, I'm gonna go fry these up and I will let them sit. And while I do that, I'm probably going to figure out what's going on with the one in the oven. But that's pretty much it. Both of these are now in the process of cooking or cooking, and all that's left is a taste test. Alrighty, you'll have to apologize for the mess because I do actually have to cook those other 2 testicles today. Otherwise they'll go bad and I don't want to waste meat. Regardless of how these taste, I will use them. So this is the campfire one, this is the rugged one, and these are the, more refined ones. As you can see, very clearly different. It's taste test time. I'm excited for these. I am petrified of this. So we're gonna start with this one because I want to end on a good note, but hopefully it doesn't throw me a curveball and this is good and these are awful. So let's just take a little bit of testicle right here. That looks done. Every video I've seen that is done. I showered it with a little bit of sea salt at the end of it, just like they said. It bursted at the seam, so I knew it was done. And down the hatch. I don't know how to perfectly describe this, but if I'm gonna take my best guess, it tastes like the initial taste tastes like beef. It tastes like a really bad steak, but it tastes like steak, like a not so desirable cut of steak. And then the back end starts to get the earthy and if not a fishy taste. I would say the first part of that was a 5 out of 10, like it was edible. The back half was probably like a 2 out of 10. Like it's still edible, but you're forcing it down at that point. So I don't much care for that, and it's solely based off the aftertaste. If it was just the first taste, I could get by with it, but heaven help you on that aftertaste. That's not very good. Now, let's get into the more refined one, which I'm a little bit more excited for, and here we go. Those are phenomenal. You can't even taste that the meat is in there. It's deep fried on animal fat, of course. So naturally you're going to get the overwhelming like fatty flavor, and the breading. These are fantastic. I'll eat this entire plate. Actually, I'll get a bigger one to see if I can get more meat out of the deal. Well, they taste like chicken wings. Well, I guess, like, what do they call them? Like chicken nuggets or chicken tenders. That's what they taste like. These are phenomenal. I'll eat this entire thing. These have nothing in common with this. Hell, there's hardly any beef flavor. And the funniest thing is, I cook these in rendered down pig fat, and it tastes like chicken. Isn't that weird? So no, these are fantastic. I would say if you can get over the fact that you're eating testicles, this is the way to do it. And that lemon pepper certainly did some wonders. Wow, those are fantastic. And I do know that some people put a little lemon juice on it, I guess to kill that taste. I don't have a taste, quite frankly. I think these are fantastic. I think these are good. If you can get it out of your head that you're eating something that's not typical for, say, an American to eat, you would have absolutely no issues if somebody were to put this in front of you and say that these are like chicken nuggets or chicken tenders or something like that. You would not even tell the difference. These are fantastic. I would eat, I'm going to eat the whole plate because I haven't had lunch yet. This, I need to figure out what to do with this. This is a disaster. The rugged cowboy cattle drive, I guess I couldn't be a cowboy. So there's that. Let's try a little bit with the lemon. I can't even taste the lemon. I put lemon pepper on it, so I guess I'm already getting that lemony taste, but a good 8 out of 10 on this one. Like edible, pretty damn good. If not an 8.5, because it's deep fried. Overall, you could put it down. Just make sure you have your water with you. 3 out of 10. I would even say 2.5. It's just not good. If this is the only thing you had, makes sense, but I want these. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody getting this far into the video. I'm assuming it's a longer one because we made 2 dishes. We made the traditional rugged Rocky Mountain Oyster, and then we made the refined, what you'd find in the saloons and pretty much in any restaurant in the Rocky Mountain region, Rocky Mountain Oysters. My favorite one I've heard today is Montana tenderloins. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, thank you guys for getting this far into the video. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed today's video, or leave me a comment stating what you liked, or tell me what I should make next. I have a Patreon that is linked down in the description field below, or it should be appearing right in front of these big balls. I do not take ads nor sponsorships here on St. Andrew TV. That ensures that the content is homegrown and grassrooted, and there is no external influence from any external party. I wouldn't be making testicles as a lunch special today if I did have influence. YouTube probably didn't like the raw meat in the shape of testicles either at the start of the video. But that ensures you that everything is organic here on the channel. If you'd like to support what I do here at St. Andrew TV, please feel free to go over to the Patreon link and leave a donation. But only if your means allow you to do so. The content on YouTube will forever remain free. By you liking, sharing, and subscribing is more than enough support for me. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed as of late, but for those of you who have come across this video or this channel, maybe because you like the Wild West content, maybe you like the Wild West cooking recipes, or maybe you think it takes a big pair of balls to cook Rocky Mountain oysters. Think about hitting that subscribe button, because you're a daisy if you do.